Hi everybody and big welcome to cEDh gameplay. This time we're playing dual color commanders and me, Pontus and Rhetoric is joined by Snuske.
Hello.
So today I'm playing grrul etali. This commander is basically cast it as fast as possible. Hope we don't see a Draenei Magistrate from Snuske. That would be very snuskit. And from there the plan is to basically potentially loop etali to cast my entire deck and cast all of my opponent's deck and then win with something.
So I am playing Rakdos, specifically Rakdos the Muscle, and this deck, as far as I understand, is all about sacrificing and abusing the sacrifice triggers with Rakdos the Muscle, which allows you to exile cards equal to the mana value from the top of your library.
So I'm giving Otari another try. There have been a few changes to the deck here and there. I'm still using Morachium/Vincent's list. He's trying out a few different things here and there, but the game plan is still pretty much the same. If you need to, get some stack pieces down, otherwise just put Otari into play and then try to beat up their face as much as possible. Sometimes all you need is the murder bird in play and then it just happens.
So today I'm playing Gitrog, specifically because 6 just got revealed, and it looks like a slam dunk for Gitrog, because you just discard lands, draw a card, and recast. And if you do have something like a Lotus Petal, you just make infinite mana and draw your deck. So that sounds pretty good. Maybe that's good enough to make Gitrog good? I don't think so, but let's see. So this first 7 looks pretty good, but I think it's a trap. So we do have a turn 2 Gitrog. We don't have a land follow-up. We do have 2 different discard outlets. One with flash, which is really nice, but we don't really have any lands to discard. We have a squandered resources, is pretty nice, but as I said before, we don't really have the lands to get us going. So I think this hand is kind of trappy. We do have the surveil land, which is really nice here, but I still think it's a bit too low on resources. Like, I would love to like swap one of the discard outlets for any other value, basically. I think even a land, actually. So yeah, I'm gonna mulligan this. I could see myself keeping this, but I think this is more like a 5 or 6 keep. So yeah, let's see if we can get something better for a second 7. This hand irritates me. So it's almost really good, but it's not, because we don't have any ways to make colored mana outside of the Jewel Lotus. We do have a really high land count, so we could gamble, but I feel even if we gamble, we don't really have the payoff. For one, we just have the one land with Gitrog, so like we sacrifice that to turn off to play Gitrog, and then unless we draw into lands, we're just stuck, basically. And all our mana is colorless. Maybe we draw green mana and we can like use a dork, but like it's not great. But it's so gas. I just wish we had anything to do with the gas. Well, yeah, let's try a 6. This pod has no blue in it, so this carpet is completely dead. That's pretty funny. But this hand in general, probably the best one so far. It still isn't perfect, but I think it's actually pretty good. We do have the dead card, use discard the carpet, easy go away. We do have a turn 2 Gitrog, we have a Dark Grit. We're kind of missing lands. I think there's enough play here for this hand to be viable, so I'm gonna try it. Go ahead and do your mulligans, Snuske.
We don't have a 3 mana play on turn 2, so we'll go for another one, second 7. So usually Deafening Silence is pretty good. In this pod, it's kind of weird, but maybe it's enough to at least slow down like the early progression of the Rakdos and etali deck, because I think they just want to be ramping out mana. And I know Gitrog wants to do that too, but they have weird ways of doing that, and they can start looping beyond Deafening Silence. But I think this is good enough, because like Weathered Runestone also disrupts a lot of what they're doing. This doesn't stop casting from exile, which 2 of the decks are looking to do. Maybe it's enough. And we also get to put a gemstone into play, and we start ramping some mana, and hopefully we can get Otari into play pretty quick. But we can lead off on Paladin class and Deafening Silence to at least slow down some of the early game power. Might be Copium, but I think I'm going to keep this. I think we're going to get rid of the Paladin class and just play the Parlor on turn 1 to set up our next draw. Just play the Deafening Silence. If we see a reason from Pontus to go for the Weathered Runestone, we'll do that. Otherwise, we have a pretty good setup into either his Rug or Runestone on turn 2, or whatever we draw. Yeah, I think that's going to be the play. Keeping the second 7.
So this is a snap keep. We're basically gonna do what the Rhetoric is usually doing, just keep the first 7. No, seriously, this is great. So we have a turn 2 pretty much guaranteed etali. That's great. If we're extremely lucky, top decking something like a Lotus Petal or a Mox Diamond or a Chromox, I think this is a turn 1 etali, depending on how much mana we're gonna get with the Jeska's Will on our opponents. In the end, I think this is gonna be a turn 2 etali, which is still awesome. So yeah. And also we have a Code of Calling. that we can use later down the road to find either Tyrmer Sabertooth or Dockside Extortionist. But yeah, this hand is golden.
I have a pregame. I have a Gemstone Caverns, and I'm exiling this Paladin class.
Take my turn. Land for turn will be a Prismatic Vista. I will crack it, finding a snow-covered forest. I'll tap that forest for a Delighted Halfling, and then I'll pass turn.
We draw for turn. Play this Elegant Parlor, tapped. It's a Surveil land. Look at the card here. Or, yeah, I think that's good to keep on top. Let's do that. Tap for 1 white and cast a Deafening Silence. And with that, I pass my turn.
Land return, ancient 2.
Let's not listen to that anymore. Narration coming up. Rhetoric imprints a red card to his Chromox. Draw a card. Wooded Foothills, sacrifice it. Finding a Taiga, casting a Mana Crypt, tapping the Taiga for green. Finhorn Elves. And then I ship the turn.
Go to my turn. No, what did you fetch for that? I'll cast a Jewel Lotus. I'll tap Snow-Covered Forests, Delighted Halfling for black, crack my Jewel Lotus to cast a Gitrog. With Gitrog in play, I'll play in Marsh Flats. I will crack it, lose a life, and trigger Gitrog to draw a card. I'll put a Bayou into play, and then for my second land for turn, I'll play a tapped Underground Mortuary and Surveil. I'll keep that card on top of the library. And then I'll pass my turn.
Let's draw for turn. We know we're drawing. Alright, so we have some decisions here. The Deafening Silence didn't, on the face of all of this, it didn't do much. Like, the Gitrog still came into play. Mons was still able to develop 4 mana. It seemed like it hurt Rakdos the most. The only way the Rug of Smothering is going to matter is if Gitrog or etali is able to get rid of the Deafening Silence and then pop off. The question is if maybe we just hold off on the Rug and then just go for the Weathered Runestone. Doesn't do that much, honestly, but I still think the Runestone might just be better, even though it doesn't stop the whole casting from exile, because we'll be able to have this Galadriel's Dismissal available as well to just get rid of the Gitrog if we have to, or anything else for that matter. And then we can pop the rock down next turn, and then we'll still have Galadriel's Dismissal for that turn if we need it. Yeah, I think I like that more. Just more interact. All right, let's play this Scalding Tarn, and we'll crack it. I'll get a Plateau, and I'll cast a Weathered Runestone. I'll pass my turn.
Rhetoric plays a Swamp and a Fellower Stone. And then he casts Pox Walkers. Roll for Crypt, heads is damage, tails no damage. Untap, draw a card. I'm gonna play this Bloodstained Mire. Sacrifice it, finding basic Mountain. I'm gonna cast an Arcane Signet and pass the turn.
I will go to my turn. In upkeep, I will have a Gitrog trigger. I will tap my Underground Mortuary to float a black mana, which is useless because I know the top card. Then I'll sacrifice the Mortuary instead of Gitrog to draw a card. And then the black mana will go away, and I'll go to my draw step and draw a card. Land for turn will be a City of Traitors. I will tap Bayou for black and Light Halfling for a colorless to cast a Diabolic Intent, sacrificing my Delighted Halfling. So here I'm finding Dagmar Salvage. I don't think that's necessarily the absolute correct choice. There's an argument to be made for Black Life for the Rome as well. But we're non-blue, so I don't think there's many counterspells. And also, Shane of Smoke is actually a discard outlet for Dagmar Salvage. It's a very awkward discount outlet, but it kind of works. It gets us what we need, more or less. Since there's a Weathered Runestone, our Court of Calling isn't online. So I think this is just our best choice here. And we can also develop a Sylvan Safekeeper to have some, it's kind of both gas and protection. So yeah, I think this is just the right choice. But we do need to wait the turn for us to be able to go for it. So we're just going to develop a Sylvan Safekeeper here and hope that it gets around to us and that we can do the stuff we want to do. So yeah, put the Sylvan Safekeeper on stack and see what happens. After a lot of contemplation, my Sylvan Safekeeper resolves. And I realized I have a kind of a cool play here. I will play a Dagmar Salvage, ETB trigger on City of Traitors. In response to that, I'll tap it for 2 colorless, not that I'm going to be able to use it, and then still in response to the ETB trigger, I will sack the City of Traitors to target Gitrog with Shroud, and that will trigger Gitrog. So trigger Gitrog, and I will draw a card, and I don't actually need to do more here, so I will just pass the turn.
I'll untap, still not knowing if my Runestone is doing anything to Pontus. I'll draw a card. That's interesting and very annoying. The Sylvan Safekeeper is really annoying, and of course we draw Path to Exile right after, but we do have the option of just playing I was going to play the Rug of Smothering this turn, but the Sylvan Safekeeper kind of changes that, because showing that he just has Dagmar Salvage. The fact that he played it too is weird, but annoying card away from just getting there at this point. So I think I have to keep up a kicked Galadriel's dismissal here because it doesn't target, so the shroud doesn't matter. So I'm gonna forgo the rug, and then I always have the path to exile to deal with something else if I have to. I think I'm just gonna have to wait on the rug, but that's the plan for now at least. I have to respect the Gitrog. Play and crack this Arid Mesa. I'm gonna get a Sacred Foundry. It's gonna come in untapped. I'm gonna take 2. And then I'm simply gonna pass the turn.
Take my turn. All right, I am going to first tap Belwar Stone for black and Chromux. I'm going to cast a Demonic Tutor, knowing that there is a Gitrog that's nearby, and evidently with Dakmor Salvage and other things like that. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and fetch up a Orcish Bowmasters for that reason. I wanted to play Rakdos right now, but I don't think it's going to do anything, knowing that there's a win attempt that's kind of imminent, so this is a bit of a defensive play. Ancient Tomb will take 2 damage, leaving 1 colorless floating. We will then cast Orcish Bowmasters.
In response to your casting of the Bowmaster, I'm actually going to respond. Because you want to kill my Safekeeper, but if I give it Shroud before the ETB, you're going to kill Mod's Store. So I will respond to the ETB by sacrificing Dakmor, targeting Suna Safekeeper.
I have a response to this because there's a Deafening Silence in play, and I think I might tap out on my turn, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Better do it now than ever. I'm going to cast Lightning Bolt on your Sylvan Safekeeper in response to the activated ability.
This feels unnecessarily rude, but I guess I have to accept because I need mana. So then my Gitrog trigger will resolve. I'll replace the Gitrog trigger with Dredge. So I'll put the Dakmor in my hand and mill 2. I will mill a Gemstone and a Verdant Catacombs. That will create another Gitrog trigger, and I will draw a card. And then I am passing Orcish Bowmaster.
Maybe done something to Pontus, so I think we need to point the arrow elsewhere. So you're, yes, an arrow will go to the Finhorn Elves.
Heads is damage, tails no damage. I draw a card. Pontus been drawing cards, so Jeska's Will, targeting Pontus. I gain 6 red mana, and this is the last 7 to cast etali Primal Conqueror. So Snuske has an artifact in play called Weathered Rune Stone that prevents players from casting spells from their library. However, how etali reads is that you're exiling cards and then casting them from exile. So I'm not actually casting anything from my library, which means that Weathered Rune Stone doesn't really affect me.
For me, you exile a Summoner's Pact.
You got a very cool card in Grafdigger's case.
Mons, you get a Viscera Seer.
Viscera Seer is actually pretty good. And a Magus of the Moon. So I can't cast the Summoner's Pact, and I don't think I want to.
I would like to respond by floating 2 white.
Magus of the Moon lands, and then I'm casting Viscera Seer as well. And then etali finally resolves. Roar!
Alright, after a lot of deliberation in my own brain, I'm gonna make a play that might be wrong, might be correct. I have no idea. We'll find out. But I'm going to cast this Path to Exile, targeting the Magus.
That happens. It goes to exile, and I will search out a land. Here's a forest. Then I pass the turn.
I will go to my turn. I will untap. I will have a Gitrog trigger in my upkeep. And since the Magus got exiled, I feel more safe in sacrificing my basic. So I will sacrifice my basic first after floating in green, because that matters, I guess. This will trigger Gitrog, and I will draw a card. Then, that will trigger Orcish Bowmaster, exactly.
Yeah, I'll shoot it at Viscera Seer.
In response, I'm gonna sacrifice... Yeah, we're sacrificing etali, sending to command zone, looking at the top. That does not help, so we're gonna send this to the bottom. And then we're sacrificing Viscera Seer to your graveyard, looking at the top. That does not help either. Move that to the bottom.
With my upkeep being done, I'll move to my draw step and draw for turn. Land for turn will be a Polluted Delta, and I will crack it. Triggering Gitrog, drawing a card, triggering the Orcish Bowmaster.
Arrow to the face, Pontus.
Finding a Urgon Tomb and shocking it in, taking 2 damage. Second land for turn will be a Gemstone Caverns. I will tap my Cavern of Souls to play my spell for turn, and that being a Sol Ring. And then I'm passing turn.
Draw a card. Rog of Smothering. This deck is very anti-turbo because it was built within a turbo community, so it has a lot of these types of cards, at least as many as you can. Rog of Smothering is a 3-mana artifact creature with flying. It's 1/3, so it's kind of protected against Orcish Bowmaster. But it also says whenever a player casts a spell, they lose 1 life for each spell they've cast this turn. So individual storm hurt.
You're just being annoying at the moment.
No, I'm being mean. It's different. Cool, I'll pass.
Right then, I'm going to tap, putting 5 in the pool, and I'll cast Rakdos, the muscle. And then I would like to go to combat. Poxwalkers at Pontus, and the Orc army at Suske.
No blocks, take 3.
No blocks.
Yeah, with that, I'm going to pass.
Heads is damage, tails never damage. Draw cord. Let's go Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. I'm just gonna pass the turn here, I think, sadly.
Go to my turn. Upkeep Gitrog trigger. I'll float the colorless for the cavern, and then I'll sacrifice it to not sacrifice Gitrog. This will trigger Gitrog, and I will draw a card. That'll trigger Bowmasters.
Yeah, I'll point it at you, Pontus.
I'll then move to draw and draw a card. I will play a Misty Rainforests as last turn. I will crack it, taking a damage, triggering Gitrog, drawing a card, triggering Bowmaster.
And this time I'll take out your other eye, Pontus.
I'll find the basic forests. And then I'll move to a step that I've forgotten 3 times in a row, which is combat. In combat, I will attack Snuske for 6.
Wait, why? That's fair. I'll take 6.
Before damage, after Snuske has declared no blockers, I would like to flash in a Oblivion Crown targeting Gitrog.
In response, I'm going to tap for a white, and I'm going to cast Galadriel's Dismissal targeting Gitrog. Phase out Gitrog, and Pontus's little gotcha trick can take a hike.
My Gitrog is phased out. Oblivion Crown fizzles. Not a pass.
Pyrostatic Pillar. This is another anti-storm card. It's probably known mostly from like burn lists in 60 card. It's similar to a card a lot of people know. Whenever a player casts a spell or plays a spell with converted mana cost 3 or less, Pyrostatic Pillar deals 2 damage to that player. I will take 1 from the Rakdos for casting, and then I will pass my turn.
At the end of your turn, Snuske, I will sacrifice Poxwalkers with Rakdos' ability, and who to target? I will target myself. So I will exile cards equal to 3. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. 2 lands and a Mox Diamond. I drew the card, and because we can play lands, which I just learned about from Rakdos, I will start off with a Mox Diamond, trickling the rug, yes, and the pillar. So I'm taking a couple damage, take 3. I will discard this Marsh Flats. Then I'm going to play this Exotic Orchard. All right, got my lands in play, and now we're going to go to combat. And we are going to send 5 army at Snuske and 6 Rakdos, the muscle, at Mons.
I take 6.
Damage resolves, great. I'll take a bit more damage from all of these boros stacks pieces by casting a Forsaken Miner. It is a skeleton rogue. This is when you commit a crime, you may pay a swamp or black. If you do, return Forsaken Miner from your graveyard to the battlefield. But because there is a stacks piece not allowing that, it won't return, but it's slightly useless. But nevertheless, I can get some value from it with Rakdos. And with that, I pass.
Heads is damage. Heads, I take 3. First damage from the manuscript. Draw a card. We're gonna play a Prismatic Vista, land drop. Sacrificing it. Finding a snow-covered forest, and passing.
I will untap and get back my Gitrog, and he will still trigger because I get him back in my upkeep. So I will have to sack a land, which will be the basic forest. This will make the draw card, which will trigger the Bowmaster.
All right, just to be fun, we're going to shoot 1 arrow at Mons. So then you're all at 27. How about that?
No, we're not. You're at 28.
Then I will move to my normal draw step and draw a card. Land for turn will be a Mana Confluence. And this time I'll remember to play a second land for turn, which will be a Snowcord Swamp. I will move straight to combat, and I will attack Snuske again for 6. This time without tricks.
Why am I dying to beat? I guess I'll take.
I deal 6, and then with all these exciting cards in my hand, I'll pass.
Yeah, I will untap and draw a card. That is very unexciting. I'm going to pass.
End of your turn, I'm going to sack Forsaken Miner, and Mons, I'd like to see the top of your library.
You're getting the 1 ring. No.
I will untap, just go to Beach Street. 6 Orc Army at Mons and 6 at Pontus.
I take 6.
No blocks, take 6.
Hey, look at that. 3 opponents at 21. I'm just, that's what Beach Street does. Now, there is a 1 ring in exile, so I am going to tap the mana for 4 and cast the 1 ring from exile. All right, so 1 ring will be on exile, reanimate, because it's pretty useless. We're going to exile this, and I'm going to evoke Grief. With Grief on a battlefield, or entering the battlefield, I'm going to stack that trigger first before the evoke ETB so that I can see what's in your hand before it gets sacrificed.
I have Worldly Tutor, Orcish Lobe, Lumberjack, and Code of Calling.
All right, discard Worldly Tutor.
Worldly Tutor is discard.
And then we have to sacrifice Grief per the evoke trigger. So I will then rakdos the muscle. I'll go ahead and target. Sasuke, I'm going to target you this time for 4.
You have a Jeweled Lotus, a Mana Vault, a City of Brass, and an Esper Sentinel. It's more sack fodder, right?
I will go ahead and spend 1 to cast that Esper Sentinel from exile.
Heads is damage. No damage. Draw a card. I don't have the mana to cast my etali. I could not have cast the Worldly Tutor because he would have targeted me with rakdos and exiled the cool Dockside Extortions that were tutored 4. So we are going to hope for the best and pass.
Go to my turn, untap and upkeep trigger Gitrog. I will float the black in response, and then sacrifice the basic swamp and draw a card, triggering Bowmaster.
1 damage to you, Pontus.
I take the damage, and then I draw for turn. I will play with Foothills as land for turn, and I will fetch, trigger Gitrog, and draw a card.
And 1 at Snusuke.
Now, I'm going to flash in this Haven. That doesn't matter.
No response to Aven. I have no fetchable targets for my Foothills, so this matters nothing for me. Second land for turn, the only one I have left, is this Dagmar Salvage. I just tapped. Then pay 4 to cast this The One Ring. I can pay for Esper Sentinel, losing 2 life in total. 1 ring resolves into beasts, and then I pass my turn.
Untap, draw a card, play a land. It is Shinka, the Blood-Soaked Keep, if that's ever gonna matter. Might. And then I will tap 5 and finally be the one to also cast my commander, Odori, Sun's Glory, with 2 people with protection in play. So that's fun. And then I will just move straight to combat.
I don't have a ring. Or he has my ring. You can punch me, I guess.
I would never attack you in this situation, Mons, but I need some life, so I'm gonna attack you for 5 in total when I get my rebel.
I take 5.
Oh, and I will also take 1 damage from my Rug of Smothering, and then I will pass the turn.
End of your turn, Sasuke, I'm going to tap the 1 ring to draw a card, and I'll put a burden counter on it. All right. Untap. I'll resolve the trigger, lose a damage, take a damage from the burden counter, and tap it to draw this card. We are sending the 7/7 and the 6/5 actually at Sasuke.
I'll block the 7/7 with Aven and take 6.
Lands return will be Badlands. From there, I'm going to tap Badlands to gamble. I found a card, and let's just randomly discard and hope for the best. Sweet. I have discarded a Mana Crypt, and I'll ship the turn from there.
Heads, I take damage. Heads, I take damage. I'm at 13, drawing a card. City of Brass. I have the mana to cast etali, and I'm taking 2 damage because of that. I am going to exile a Ragavan.
For me, you exile a Elvish Mystic.
Bovine Intervention. Destroy target artifact or creature. Its controller creates a 2/2 white ox.
I don't exactly know the exact details, but I'm going to cast your stuff over there, Snusuke. The spot removal that will kill the rug thingy, the 1 free flying artifact that makes us lose life by casting spells. I'm not going to cast anything else, because there's like an Orcish Bowmaster in play, and my Ragavan and the Pontus Elvish Mystic is just going to die to an Orc arrow. But I'm removing that rug thing so I can storm eventually. I'm not paying for Esper Sentinel, you can draw a card. And then I passing the turn.
In your end step, I will tap ring to put a counter on it and draw a card.
We'll target Snusuke.
Go to my turn, and upkeep, I will lose 1 life to the ring. Then Gitrog will trigger. In response to Gitrog trigger, I will tap my Dagmar Salvage and for black, and then sack it. Gitrog will trigger, and I'll replace the draw trigger with Dredge, putting Dagmar in my hand and milling a Adnos and a Chromox. No draw triggers for the Bowmaster. Sweet. Then I draw for turn. Tap the 1 ring to put 2 counters on it and draw 2 cards. This will trigger Bowmasters twice.
I will target the Rebel. It's 2/2, right?
Land for turn will be an Ursa Saga, putting a counter on it. Then I'll cast a Mox Diamond, taking 2 damage. Mox Diamond will resolve, and I will be discarding a Dagmar Salvage. Gitrog, and I'll replace the draw with the Dredge, putting Dagmar back in my hand, and milling 2 cards. There will be an Ulamog and a Nurturing Peatland. I'll stack the triggers so that I draw first, and then shuffle my graveyard into my library. So I will draw, triggering Bowmaster.
You will go down to 13, Pontus.
I take that damage, and then I shuffle my graveyard into my library. Then I will play a Gaia's Cradle as my second land for turn. I'll tap 3 to cast a Ramen Up Excavator. Very great without library. I'll take 2 from the pillar. And then I will pass my turn. But since I have 9 cards in my hand, I have to clean up. And usually, this is really great with Gitrog, because I have a Dagmar Salvage, and cleanup is basically a discard outlet. But there's a Bowmaster in play, and there's no way for me to actually deal with that. So I need to take a chill pill and not try to clean up Sculpt and be cute. So instead, we're just going to discard our dead cards, which will be a Green Sun Zenith and a Grim Monolith. And then our turn is over.
I'm going to untap. And I'm going to draw a card. I'm going to swing the Otari at Mons, because I believe Etali only has Trample. It's not big enough to reach. And then I have an experience counter trigger. I get 2 Rebels, and these 2 Rebels will go at Rhetoric.
If you've seen Jurassic Park, you might have noticed or remembered this creature actually jumps up and catches like an helicopter and birds in the sky, so I think it has reach, but no, I have no blockers, I take damage.
I will declare blocks with your Esper Sentinel, and I will sacrifice it to Rakdos before damage. And then have you mill, or whatever, exile a card.
Me? Sure. It's an Ancient Tomb right here. At the end of combat, I would like to cast Great Train Heist. And I would like to spree with an additional 3. And I guess I'll spree with the final option as well. Great Train Heist is 1 red. And then it has Spree, which is a new mechanic where you can add additional effects. I'm going to be choosing the first and the last one. So it's a total of 5 mana. When I add the 2 in a red, I untap all my creatures. And if it's currently my combat phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. And then I'm also adding choose target opponent. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to that player this turn, create a tap treasure token. Yeah, I'm back in beginning of combat. I would like to swing 13 damage at Rhetoric.
Yeah, you got it, homie. I'm dead. Well done.
That was close. We pulled through somehow. Let's die in another way, I guess, to dinosaurs and big frogs, because I'm out of blockers. I'll pass turn.
Heads damage. That's heads. I'm down to 2. This means if I cast a single spell on CMC too low, I instantly die. If I attack at Snuske, Pontus attacks and kills me. Snuske is going to kill me next turn anyways, but there's a chance that Pontus... Nah, I'm gonna do nothing, I pass.
In your end step, Mons, I'll tap 3 green, and I will cast a Arctrude Charm with the mode to search my library for a creature or a land. I'm putting a Witherbloom Apprentice into my hand. Then I'll go to my turn. Upkeep, I'll lose 2 life to the One Ring, and then Gitrog will trigger. I will sacrifice the Underground Tomb and draw a card. Then I will draw a turn. Tap for 2, have 1 green floating to cast a Witherbloom Apprentice, taking 2 damage. And with Witherbloom in play, have 1 colorless floating and a black to cast a Chain of Smog, targeting myself. Take 2 damage, and then Chain of Smog will trigger Witherbloom, make my 2 opponents lose 1 life each, and I gain 1 life. So this is actually kind of interesting with my current deck. Because I have a Dagmar and lands, but we have enough things to know that this works. So what will happen is Chain of Smog will target me. I will discard 2 cards. This is a Core of Calling and a Dark Ritual. And then I will copy it, targeting myself. And when I copy it, I will trigger the Witherbloom, and my opponents will lose life again. And I'll continue doing this until my opponents die. The only issue being that when I discard lands, I will draw. So I discard a Ancient Tomb and a Spirit Guide. I get to draw a card. But yeah, I can just loop this. I have enough cards for Snuske to die. And even if I didn't, I think this just works as a discard outlet. I don't entirely know, but I'm pretty sure it works. Either way, my opponents will die, and I will win. Good game. Yeah, so we managed to win. I basically just won by default once Rhetoric died, because there was layered stacks, and either Rhetoric or Snuske had to go before I could win, and Rhetoric died, so I could win. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I had the same feeling, but I also had a feeling that Rhetoric was really close to just killing all of us, so I think my one out was just that Pontus didn't have anything else, and just hope to get there. We got Rhetoric though on that Rakdos deck. That was scary.
I was Rakdos. I had fun. That's it.
I was hoping to get Ulamog from Pontus because like that goes through Deafening Silence. My etali didn't really hit anything great, And I was dying to all the anti-storm. Didn't get to do anything but sit here and watch. In any case, guys, hope you enjoyed this very long gimmick battle. Hope to see you next week. Take care.